Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving deep into the untold, forgotten military alliance of the Warsaw Pact, an Eastern superpower alliance that shaped the Cold War era. From its formation to its dissolution, we're uncovering the stories, operations, and legacy of this pivotal alliance. The year was 1955. Europe was divided, and the Cold War was in full swing. NATO had just integrated West Germany, raising alarms in the Eastern Bloc. In response, the Soviet Union and 7 other socialist states formed a powerful counterbalance, the Warsaw Pact. The founding members of the Warsaw Pact were the Soviet Union, Albania, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, East Germany, Hungary, Poland, and Romania. This alliance was not just a military pact, but a tool for the Soviet Union to solidify its grip over Eastern Europe. The Warsaw Pact was signed in Warsaw, Poland on May 14, 1955. Its objectives were clear: to ensure mutual defense, maintain Soviet influence, and counter the NATO threat. The Warsaw Pact had a well-defined organizational structure designed to ensure effective coordination and control. At the top was the Unified Military Command, always led by a Soviet officer, ensuring that Soviet military doctrine prevailed across the alliance. The Political Consultative Committee was responsible for political and military coordination. It provided a forum for discussing mutual interests and making collective decisions on defense and security matters. The Warsaw Pact wasn't just a defensive alliance. It was also used to maintain Soviet control over its satellite states. Let's look at some of its most significant interventions. The Hungarian Revolution of 1956 was a nationwide revolt against Soviet-imposed policies. This uprising was brutally suppressed by Soviet forces, with the assistance of other Warsaw Pact members. Thousands were killed, and many more were arrested and executed. This intervention demonstrated the Warsaw Pact's role in maintaining Soviet dominance in Eastern Europe. In 1968, the Prague Spring saw a period of political liberalization in Czechoslovakia. The reformist movement was seen as a threat to Soviet control. In response, Warsaw Pact troops, led by the Soviet Union, invaded Czechoslovakia to crush the movement. This operation reaffirmed the Soviet Union's commitment to maintaining its sphere of influence, even at the cost of using military force. In Poland, the rise of the Solidarity movement in the 1980s posed a challenge to the communist government. While the Warsaw Pact did not directly intervene militarily, there were significant pressures and threats of intervention that ultimately led to the imposition of martial law in Poland. The Warsaw Pact was not only a military alliance, but also had a significant intelligence and espionage component. The Soviet KGB and other Eastern Bloc intelligence agencies worked closely to monitor and counter NATO activities, gather intelligence, and suppress dissent within member states. The KGB played a central role in coordinating intelligence activities within the Warsaw Pact. It provided training, resources, and guidance to the intelligence agencies of member states. The KGB also conducted extensive espionage operations against NATO and Western countries. The East German Stasi, one of the most feared and effective intelligence agencies, was a key player in the Warsaw Pact's intelligence network. It engaged in extensive surveillance, espionage, and suppression of opposition. Other member states had their own intelligence agencies that contributed to the overall intelligence efforts of the Pact. Beyond military cooperation, the Warsaw Pact also facilitated economic and technological collaboration among its member states. This cooperation was intended to enhance the military capabilities of the alliance and support the economic development of member states. The Council for Mutual Economic Assistance, or Comecon, was an economic organization under the leadership of the Soviet Union that facilitated economic integration and cooperation among Eastern Bloc countries. It aimed to create a planned economy framework that would support the military and economic objectives of the Warsaw Pact. Technological transfers between member states were common, with the Soviet Union often providing advanced military technology to its allies. This included aircraft, tanks, and other military hardware. The goal was to standardize equipment and ensure interoperability among the armed forces of member states. The Warsaw Pact conducted numerous military exercises to demonstrate its readiness and capabilities. These exercises were large-scale operations involving land, air, and naval forces. One notable example is the Zapad West series of exercises, which simulated large-scale conflicts with NATO forces. The military doctrine of the Warsaw Pact was heavily influenced by Soviet strategic thinking. It emphasized offensive operations, deep battle concepts, and the use of combined arms. The doctrine was designed to quickly overwhelm NATO defenses in the event of a conflict. The Warsaw Pact countries made significant advancements in military technology. For example, the development of the MiG-29 fighter jet and the T-72 tank showcased the technological capabilities of the alliance. These advancements were crucial in maintaining the military balance with NATO. The decline and eventual dissolution of the Warsaw Pact were closely linked to the broader collapse of communist regimes in Eastern Europe and the dissolution of the Soviet Union itself. The policies of glasnost, or openness, and perestroika, or restructuring, introduced by Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev in the mid-1980s, aimed at reforming the Soviet system. These policies inadvertently weakened the control of the Soviet Union over Eastern Europe, leading to a wave of democratization and independence movements. In 1989, a series of peaceful revolutions swept across Eastern Europe, leading to the fall of communist governments in Poland, Hungary, East Germany, Czechoslovakia, Bulgaria, and Romania. These events marked the beginning of the end for the Warsaw Pact. On July 1, 1991, the Warsaw Pact was officially dissolved. The political changes in Eastern Europe, the reunification of Germany, and the impending collapse of the Soviet Union rendered the alliance obsolete. The Warsaw Pact had a profound impact on the Cold War dynamics and the history of Eastern Europe. Its legacy is complex, marked by both its role in maintaining Soviet control and its contributions to the defense and security of its member states. The Warsaw Pact played a crucial role in the military strategy of the Soviet Union. It provided a buffer zone against NATO forces and ensured that the Soviet Union had a formidable coalition of allies in case of a conflict. The pact also facilitated the standardization of military equipment and tactics among member states. The political and social impact of the Warsaw Pact on Eastern Europe was significant. The alliance was a tool for the Soviet Union to maintain its influence over the region, often at the expense of political freedom and national sovereignty. The interventions in Hungary and Czechoslovakia highlighted the repressive nature of the pact. The economic cooperation within the Warsaw Pact, facilitated by Comecon, had mixed results. While it promoted industrialization and economic development in some member states, it also led to economic inefficiencies and dependency on the Soviet Union. To truly understand the impact of the Warsaw Pact, we need to hear from those who lived through it. We spoke with veterans, historians, and citizens from former Warsaw Pact countries to get their perspectives.
We trained rigorously, always aware of the looming threat from NATO. The exercises were intense and we were always prepared for the worst. But there was also a sense of camaraderie among the Warsaw Pact soldiers.
The Warsaw Pact was not just a military alliance, it was a symbol of Soviet hegemony. The political and social ramifications of its existence and operations are still felt in Eastern Europe today.
Living under the Warsaw Pact meant living under constant surveillance and fear. The memories of the 1956 revolution are still very much alive in the hearts of many Hungarians.
While the Warsaw Pact and NATO were both military alliances, their structures, strategies, and political contexts were vastly different. Let's compare these two Cold War giants. NATO, formed in 1949, was a collective defense alliance of Western democracies. It operated on the principle of mutual defense, where an attack on one member was considered an attack on all. In contrast, the Warsaw Pact was more of a Soviet-dominated bloc, ensuring control over Eastern Europe. Strategically, NATO focused on deterrence and defense, while the Warsaw Pact emphasized offensive capabilities and rapid mobilization. This difference in strategies was evident in their respective military doctrines and exercises. The Warsaw Pact also had a significant cultural and propaganda aspect. The Soviet Union used the pact to promote socialist ideology and foster a sense of unity among member states. Propaganda played a crucial role in shaping public perception. State-controlled media and cultural productions glorified the alliance and its military strength, portraying it as a defender of socialism and peace. The legacy of the Warsaw Pact continues to influence contemporary geopolitics. The experiences and lessons from this alliance offer valuable insights into the nature of military alliances and international relations.
The Warsaw Pact's history teaches us about the complexities of alliance politics and the challenges of maintaining cohesion in a bloc of diverse nations. It also highlights the importance of balancing military capabilities with political and social considerations.
Many former Warsaw Pact countries are now members of NATO, reflecting a significant shift in the geopolitical landscape. This transition underscores the evolving nature of international alliances and the enduring quest for security and stability. The story of the Warsaw Pact is a fascinating chapter in the history of the Cold War. It was an alliance born out of necessity, sustained by political will, and ultimately dissolved by the winds of change. Its impact on the world remains a testament to the complexities of global politics. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world.